Dr. Elias Ward worked in the deepest medical wing of a human space prison, a place known for holding the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. Every day he treated wounds, illnesses, and injuries caused by fights, riots, or cruel mistakes. He was calm, careful, and respected by everyone in the prison, even the hardest inmates. But one cold night changed everything. A group of guards rushed into the medical bay with a stretcher. Whispering loudly and looking nervous, on the stretcher lay a woman unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Her skin was silver and soft, almost glowing in the dim lights. Her hair flowed like liquid metal, and strange marks covered her arms. She was not human. She was an alien woman, and she was in chains. The guards whispered her name with fear. "The healer," they said. "She can fix any wound, but she cannot heal herself." Elias frowned. He had heard strange stories in his career, but this one felt different. He stepped closer to examine her. She looked weak and exhausted, her breathing shallow, bruises across her shoulders and legs. Someone had hurt her badly, but she had no wounds healing on their own. He gently touched her wrist, expecting her to wake or react. Instead, she only whispered one word. Her voice was soft, shaking, full of pain that was deeper than physical injury. Elias ordered the guards to remove her chains, but they refused. "Doctor, she is dangerous," one guard said. "You don't know what she can do." "I know what pain looks like." Elias answered, "She is not a threat, she is suffering." He began treating her wounds carefully, cleaning the cuts and covering the bruises. The alien woman watched him quietly, her glowing eyes full of worry, not anger. She did not look like a criminal. She looked like someone who had run for a long time and had finally fallen. When Elias tried to ask her what happened to her, she turned her face away. "You do not want to know," she whispered. "If I speak, you will fear me." Before he could respond, the prison alarms screamed through the halls, red lights flashed, and heavy doors began to slam shut. A riot had broken out in the West Wing. The guards cursed and rushed toward the noise, leaving Elias alone with the alien woman outside the medical bay. He could hear shouting, screams, metal hitting metal, and the thunder of running boots. A wounded guard stumbled into the room, bleeding badly from a knife wound to the side. Elias rushed to him, but the alien woman suddenly sat up, her eyes bright. "Let me," she said softly. She touched the guard's wound with gentle fingers. Light spread from her hand, and the wound closed instantly. The guard gasped, amazed. Elias stared in shock. "You healed him," she nodded slowly. "I heal others, always others." But her voice weakened, and she trembled as if she had taken on the pain herself. Another guard came in, injured, then another, and another. The woman healed each of them without hesitation, but each time she grew weaker. Her silver skin dimmed, her breath became short. She was giving everything she had, even though this place treated her like a prisoner. Elias grabbed her shoulders. "Stop, you will hurt yourself." She shook her head. "I cannot. Let them die." The final guard she healed collapsed in relief. His life saved, but the alien woman collapsed too, falling into Elias's arms, her body cold and shaking, her silver glow fading with her last bit of strength. She looked at Elias and whispered a warning. "They will come for me," she said. "They will tear this place apart to take me back." Elias felt a chill run through him. "Who will come?" he asked, but she was already unconscious, her head resting on his chest. The alarms outside grew louder. The riot was getting closer, and for the first time in his life, Elias felt something he had never felt inside the prison: fear. Not fear of the prisoners or the violence, but fear of the unknown danger surrounding the strange woman with silver skin. He looked at her and realized one thing. She was not just a patient, not just an alien. Something bigger was connected to her, something dangerous, something coming straight for this prison, and Elias Ward had no idea how to stop it. When the alarms finally quieted, the prison halls were filled with the smell of smoke and fear. Elias Ward stood beside the alien woman he had saved from collapsing. Her breathing was slow but steady. Her silver glow was faint, like a candle struggling to stay lit. Elias looked at her and felt a strange protectiveness rise inside him. She had healed so many people in the last hour, yet no one had ever healed her. The guards returned to the medical bay, calmer now, thanks to the woman's healing touch, but they still looked at her with mistrust. "Doctor, is she stable?" one of them asked. "She needs rest," Elias replied. "And she needs kindness, something this place has not given her." The guard frowned but said nothing. He knew Elias was right hours later, when the night was quiet and the prison was locked. Down again, the alien woman woke. She looked around the room with tired eyes, uncertain if she was safe or still in danger. Elias brought her a cup of warm water and sat beside her. "My name is Elias," he said softly. "Can you tell me yours?" She hesitated as if even her name was dangerous. But then she whispered, "Sarai." The name was gentle, musical, but it carried pain in every syllable. Elias nodded. "Sarai, can you tell me what happened to you? Why are you here? Why are you chained like a criminal?" Sarai lowered her eyes. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held the cup. "I was born different," she said. "My people have the power to heal others. We are known as life walkers, but I was born broken." "Broken?" Elias asked, confused. "My healing works in the wrong way," she explained. "When I heal others, their pain enters my body. The hurt does not disappear. It comes to me." Elias felt his chest tighten. He had noticed her tremble after each healing. "So every time you save someone, you suffer?" She nodded. "Yes, and because of that, my people feared me. They believed I would bring danger to our world. They said a life walker who cannot heal herself is a curse." Anger rose inside Elias. "A curse? That is cruelty," Sarai looked at him with soft surprise. "You do not fear me?" "No," he said. "I see someone strong, someone brave." For a moment, Sarai looked like she might smile, but then her expression darkened. "My people sold me to slavers," she said quietly. "They did not want to kill me, but they wanted me far away. Slavers took me from world to world, forcing me to heal for them. I grew weaker each time." Elias listened in silence, his hands clenched at his sides. He had treated criminals, soldiers, and victims. But Sarai's story cut deeper than any wound he had seen. "They brought me here last," Sarai continued. "They said the humans paid well for someone with healing power. But your prison doctor, another doctor, refused to use me. He hid me, tried to protect me." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Another doctor?" "Yes," she whispered, "but he died in an accident." Or maybe it was not an accident. A cold feeling crept into Elias's chest. Someone had tried to hide her. Someone had tried to help her. And someone else had made sure that person disappeared. "Sarai," he said gently, "when the riot began, you healed the guards, even though they were the ones holding you prisoner. Why?" Sarai looked away. "Because pain should not decide who lives or dies," she said. "If someone is hurting, I must help, even if it hurts me." There was no pride in her voice, only a simple truth she lived by. Elias studied her face. "You said something earlier. Before you fainted, you said they will come for you. Who are they?" Sarai's hands tightened around the blanket. Her glow dimmed even further. She looked terrified. And Sarai was not someone who scared easily. "My people," she whispered, "the Lifewalker Dominion. They learned something about me, something they will destroy everything to take me back." Elias felt the air grow heavy. "Why?" "You said they feared you." "They did at first," she said, "but now they know my broken power can fuel something dark, something new." Her voice shook. "They want to build an army that cannot die. Soldiers who will heal every wound by giving the pain to someone else." Elias felt his heart pound. "They want to drain your life to keep their army alive." Sarai nodded slowly. "Yes, they will not stop. They will come for me soon." The prison lights flickered above them. A distant rumble shook the walls. Elias stood up fast. Sarai looked at him with fear in her glowing eyes. "They are closer than you think," she whispered. And Elias realized the prison was no longer just a prison. It was a battlefield waiting to explode. The next morning came, but it did not bring peace. A strange tension filled the air of the prison, as if the walls themselves were waiting for something terrible. Dr. Elias Ward could feel it in every footstep that echoed through the cold metal. Halls, he kept checking on Sarai, making sure she rested, making sure her breathing stayed steady. Sarai sat on the edge of the medical bed, her silver glow faint but returning little by little. She watched the door every few seconds like someone expecting danger at any moment. Elias noticed her fear, and it troubled him deeply. He had seen prisoners scared before, but not like this, not a fear of punishment, but a fear of being hunted. Elias carried a metal tablet, the one containing her files. He had read it many times, but something kept bothering him. There were missing pages, names blacked out, strange medical tests with no explanation. It was clear someone had tried to hide the truth about her. "Sarai," he said carefully, "I need to understand what your people want from you. You spoke about an army, about something dark." Sarai closed her eyes. The silver marks on her skin glowed faintly with emotion. "My people, the Lifewalker Dominion, once lived only for peace," she whispered. "We healed the sick, helped the weak. We believed life was sacred." Elias leaned closer. "What changed?" Sarai opened her eyes slowly. "War," she said. "Too many planets began fighting. Too many wounds, too much death. My people grew desperate." Elias nodded. "So they wanted to create stronger healers?" "No," Sarai said, shaking her head gently. "They wanted something else, a living weapon, a warrior who cannot die." Elias froze. His fingers tightened around the tablet. "A soldier who heals every time they are injured." "Yes," Sarai whispered. "A soldier who passes all their pain into another host. My broken power can do that." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. Her broken ability, the very thing that caused her suffering, was the key to their plan. They wanted her not to save lives, but to power their endless battles. How did they find out? Elias asked. Sarai looked at her hands. "When I was young, a group of scientists tested me. They saw pain move through me like water. They called it the transfer. They said if they linked me to their soldiers, I could take all their pain, all of it?" Elias whispered, horrified. "Yes," she answered. "Every cut, every burn, every broken bone would come into my body instead. They could fight forever, and I would suffer forever." Elias could barely breathe. "But you escaped." She nodded slowly. "One scientist helped me. He believed no life should be used like a tool. He sent me away in secret, but the Dominion found him. They made his death look like an accident." Elias remembered the mysterious note in her file about the previous prison doctor who had tried to protect her. "And then the slavers found you," he said quietly. "Yes," Sarai whispered. "Because the Dominion leaked information. They knew the galaxy itself would pull me far away. They only needed to wait. Once they were ready, they would come for me again." Elias rubbed his forehead. Everything was starting to make sense. The missing pages, the fear in the guards' eyes, the strange alerts in the prison. "What makes you think they are coming now?" he asked. Sarai looked up, her glowing eyes full of dread. "Because their army is complete," she said. "The only thing missing is the power source me." Before Elias could respond, the prison lights flickered again. This time, it lasted longer. A deep vibration traveled through the floor, like a giant ship passing overhead. Elias stepped toward the window. "What is that?" Sarai slowly stood up, her legs shaking. "A warship," she whispered. "My people do not send small ships when they hunt. They send their largest vessel, the Keeper of Breath." Elias stared at her. "That sounds like a medical ship." Sarai shook her head. "It used to be. Now it is a fortress, a floating lab, a cage for people like me." A cold voice spoke over the prison speakers. "Attention staff. An unknown vessel has entered restricted space. All personnel prepare for lockdown. Elias felt the color drain from his face. They're already here. Sarai grabbed his sleeve weakly. Elias, you must not let them take me. If they link me to their soldiers, 1,000,000 lives will fall. The galaxy will drown in endless war. The alarm started again, louder this time. Red lights flashed down the hallway. Guards shouted orders as they ran past the medical bay. Elias looked at Sarai, at her trembling form, at her frightened eyes, at the woman who healed everyone except herself. He made a choice that could cost him everything. I won't let them take you, he said, his voice steady. No matter what comes through those doors. Sarai stared at him with disbelief and hope. Outside, the sound of metal scraping against metal echoed through the hall. Something was trying to break in, something powerful. Elias stepped in front of Sarai, ready to face it. And the real war for Sarai's freedom began. Asterisk. The sound began like a faraway thunder, deep and slow, but it grew louder until the walls of the prison vibrated like a living creature breathing in fear. Dr. Elias Ward stood in front of Sarai as dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Again, this time refusing to return to full brightness. Instead they stayed dim, glowing like dying stars. Sarai held onto the medical bed for balance. Her silver glow pulsed in short, frightened waves. They are breaching the outer hull. She whispered. They do not knock, they break. Elias felt a knot tighten in his chest. He had worked in dangerous places before. But nothing compared to this. An entire alien warship was outside, trying to force its way in to take one healer who could not heal herself. A group of guards ran past the medical wing, their boots hitting the floor in fast, sharp rhythm. Dr. Ward. One of them shouted, "Stay inside and lock the doors. Do not let anyone in." But Elias shook his head. We need to get Sarai somewhere safe. The guard stared at Sarai with wide eyes, fear and confusion fighting. Inside him, safe? He repeated, there is no safe when something like that attacks. Another explosion rocked the prison. The metal walls groaned like they were being ripped apart. Smoke began to fill the corridor. Alarms blaring in angry red flashes. Sarai took a small step forward. Elias, we cannot stay here. They will break down these doors first. They know I am weak. They know I cannot run fast. Elias looked around the room, thinking fast. He grabbed the medical bag, filled it with supplies, and slung it over his shoulder. Then, we don't run fast, he said. We run smart. He helped Sarai stand straighter, her body still shaking from the toll of healing others. Her skin had lost much of its glow, and her breaths were shallow. Elias opened the side door of the medical wing, the one almost no one used. It led to a maintenance hallway, narrow and dark, perfect for staying out of sight as they stepped inside. The hallway lights flickered dangerously. Elias held Sarai's hand to guide her. She was cold, far colder than any human should be. Her energy was slipping. Elias, she whispered, you do not have to do this, my people. They will kill anyone who stands in their way. Elias did not slow down. Then they will have to go through me, he said simply. A low roar echoed from the left side of the corridor, something inhuman and sharp. Sarai pressed against the wall, terrified. That is not a human prisoner, she whispered. They have released the hunters. Hunters? Elias asked. They are soldiers made for quick capture, she explained. Not meant to kill humans, only to take me alive. Elias did not find her words comforting. Suddenly, a burst of metal crashed ahead of them as a creature leapt into the hallway. It was tall, with long limbs and armor fused directly into its skin. Its eyes burned with cold blue light. It scanned the darkness like a machine smelling fear. Elias pulled Sarai behind a storage container, holding her close to keep her upright. Sarai trembled, not from fear, but from exhaustion. The hunter sniffed the air, then turned sharply toward their hiding spot. Its blue eyes narrowed. Sarai whispered weakly, "It senses my energy. I cannot hide from it." Before the hunter could strike, gunfire exploded from behind it. The guards had arrived, shouting and firing. The hunter turned to fight them instead, its body moving like a blur. Elias grabbed Sarai's arm. "Now go." They hurried down the hallway, Sarai stumbling with every step, Elias holding her up. Smoke rolled across the floor. Burned metal filled the air. The prison was turning into a battlefield. They reached a heavy blast door. Elias typed in commands on the control panel, but it refused to open. Come on. He muttered. Sarai leaned weakly against him. "Elias, you are risking too much." He looked at her, frustration and fear all over his face. "I'm risking my life because you risk yours for everyone," he said. "I'm not leaving you." The blast door finally slid open with a long groan, revealing the central command chamber. It was filled with screens and blinking red alerts. Smoke coming from broken consoles. Inside, more guards were fighting another hunter, bodies and sparks flying. Sarai gasped in horror. "They will kill them." "Because of me." Elias pulled her back as another explosion shook the chamber. He scanned the room, searching for a way out. A service shaft in the wall, small, but large enough for the two of them to crawl through. He pointed toward it. "There." "We go there." Another roar filled the room, louder this time. The hunters were multiplying. Closing in, Sarai's legs gave out, and Elias caught her. Her hands glowed faintly, as if her healing power was trying to rise again. "Don't," Elias whispered. "You will die if you try to heal anyone now." Sarai looked at him with tired, glowing eyes. "Elias, my power hurts me, but your kindness heals me." A hunter turned toward them, ready to pounce. Elias lifted Sarai into his arms and ran toward the shaft, fighting against the shaking floor. Smoke, fire, and fear chased them. Behind them, the prison collapsed into chaos, and the war for Sarai had just begun. The service shaft was dark, narrow, and filled with dust. Dr. Elias Ward crawled through with Sarai held close against his chest. Her breathing was weak, her silver glow fading with every minute. The explosions behind them rattled the metal walls, sending showers of dust into Elias's hair, but he kept moving, one painful inch at a time. When they finally dropped into the lower tunnels of the prison, the terrible noise above them grew distant. Now they could hear something else, voices speaking a strange language that echoed like whispers in water. Sarai froze, her fingers gripping Elias's sleeve. "That is them," she whispered. "My people." "They are inside," Elias helped her sit against the wall. "You told me your people were peaceful once," he said quietly. "But the ones here, they sound like soldiers." Sarai nodded slowly. "They are the Dominion Guard, the strongest among us. They obey orders without question. They feel no fear. They only serve the will of the High Council." Elias frowned. "And the High Council wants you for their weapon." "Yes," Sarai said, "for their impossible army." Before Elias could speak again, the tunnel lights flickered. Then a soft white glow filled the darkness ahead. Out of the shadows stepped a group of tall alien figures dressed in white armor shaped like flowing cloth. Their faces were hidden behind masks that glowed with silver lines, matching the markings on Sarai's skin. One of them stepped forward slowly. His voice was calm. Too calm considering the chaos happening above. "Sarai of the broken path," he said. "Your suffering ends today. Come with us, and we will restore our world." Sarai trembled. "You do not want to restore it," she said quietly. "You want to control it." The leader tilted his head. "We want survival, and without you, we will lose." Elias stepped in front of Sarai, blocking her from the soldiers. "She is not going anywhere with you," he said firmly. The alien soldiers observed him silently, as if studying a strange animal. Then the leader spoke again. "Human Doctor, you stand in the path of something far greater than your understanding. Move aside." "No," Elias said. "Not this time." The leader raised his hand, and the soldiers stepped aside, revealing something behind them. Something large, round, and glowing, an orb-like machine pulsing with silver energy. Sarai gasped. No. Not that. Not the core of sorrow. Elias looked at her quickly. What is it? Sarai's voice shook. It is the heart of their army. It contains the pain of thousands of soldiers, all stored in one place. They want to connect it to me. I will take all their suffering inside my body. The leader nodded. You were born for this purpose, he said. Our soldiers bleed, our soldiers break, but with you, they will rise again. Elias clenched his fists. At the cost of her life. The leader did not deny it. His mask flickered with cold white light. Every world has its sacrifices. Sarai pushed herself forward weakly. I am not your sacrifice. She whispered. I am not your weapon. The Dominion soldiers stepped closer, forming a tight circle around them. Elias grabbed the metal pipe from the ground and held it like a shield, even though it was useless against them, but he refused to back down. One soldier reached out to grab Sarai, and Elias swung the pipe without thinking. The metal hit the soldier's armor with a loud crack, but the soldier didn't even flinch. Instead, he pushed Elias back with one arm, sending him crashing to the floor. Sarai screamed, Elias. She crawled toward him, but the leader raised his hand and a wave of energy pushed her down gently, pinning her to the ground. Do not fear, the leader said. Once you are joined with the core, the pain will leave you forever. You will feel nothing, think nothing, only serve. That is not living, Sarai whispered, tears forming in her glowing eyes. Two soldiers lifted her from the ground. Her body hung limp, too tired to fight. Elias struggled to stand, grabbing the wall. For balance, put her down, he shouted. The leader turned toward him. Why do you care for her? He asked. She is not of your kind. She is not your duty. Elias looked at Sarai, her weak, trembling form, her soft silver glow fading. He remembered the way she healed even when it hurt her, the way she cried out when others suffered, the way she chose kindness even when the world gave her none. Because she deserves to live, Elias said, his voice breaking with emotion. She deserves freedom. She deserves someone who stands with her. The leader watched him silently for a long moment. Then he raised his hand, the gesture cold and final. Remove the human, he ordered. Two soldiers stepped toward Elias, when suddenly, the ground shook with a violent roar from above. Dust rained down, and the tunnel walls cracked. A massive explosion sent shockwaves through the chamber, knocking soldiers off their feet. Elias grabbed Sarai's arm and pulled her away as the glowing core flickered dangerously, energy surging wild and unstable. Sarai gasped. Elias, the core is overheating. If it breaks, it will release all the stored pain at once. Then we need to move. Elias shouted. Behind them, the Dominion soldiers struggled to regain balance, their armor sparking, their masks flickering in panic. For the first time, Elias saw something in them, fear. He pulled Sarai into the collapsing tunnels as the core screamed with rising energy. The prison was no longer a battlefield. It had become a ticking storm, ready to shatter everything. Asterisk. The tunnel shook like a living beast trying to break free from its skin. Dr. Elias Ward held Sarai close as the ground cracked under their feet. The burning light from the unstable core behind them flickered like lightning trapped inside metal, every pulse sending stronger tremors through the prison. Sarai struggled to stay upright, her body weak and trembling. Elias, the core will explode, she whispered, her voice small and breaking. It holds every pain of every soldier. If it shatters, that pain will fill this whole place. Elias tightened his grip on her arm. Then we keep moving. We have to get you away from here. But the tunnel suddenly split open in front of them, a deep crack cutting the floor like a wounded scar. Elias stopped just in time before the ground collapsed into darkness. Dust choked the air, and far behind them, the Dominion soldiers shouted orders, their glowing masks dimming with panic. Sarai pressed her hand to the wall, trying to sense a safe direction. We cannot go forward, she whispered. The tunnel is broken. Elias looked around quickly. His mind raced, searching for any path, any route they could take before the core reached full overload. Then he saw it, an old emergency hatch on the left wall, rusted and forgotten, but still intact. "There," he said. "We can escape through that." He helped Sarai step across loose debris toward the hatch. Her legs shook with every movement, and the silver lines on her skin flickered weakly like fading stars. Elias pulled the hatch with all his strength, the metal groaning loudly. Finally, it opened with a violent jerk, revealing a narrow side chamber. As soon as they stepped inside, another explosion echoed from the distance. The whole tunnel behind them collapsed, blocking the path completely. Elias dusted off his hands and turned to Sarai. "We're safe for now," he said, breathing hard, but Sarai shook her head. "Not safe. Only hidden." She slid down the wall slowly. Too weak to stand, Elias knelt beside her. His heart twisted when he saw the exhaustion on her face. She looked like a flame struggling not to die out. "Sarai," he said softly, "you need rest." She smiled faintly. "Rest does not fix what is broken inside me." Elias clenched his fists. "There must be something I can do." Before Sarai could answer, the chamber door was ripped open with a powerful force. A Dominion soldier stepped inside, sparks flying off his armor. He was damaged but still strong. Elias stood up immediately, placing himself between Sarai and the soldier. "You're not taking her," he said, his voice steady despite the fear twisting in his stomach. The soldier looked at him with cold, glowing eyes. "Human, move aside. Your life has no value in this mission." "No," Elias said. "My life has value because I choose what to stand for." The soldier raised his arm, a blade of energy forming from his wrist. He lunged at Elias fast. Too fast for any human to dodge. The blade slashed across Elias's side, and he fell hard against the wall, blood spreading across his shirt. Sarai screamed, "Elias!" She crawled toward him, her hands shaking. The soldier turned toward her again, ready to strike. But Sarai reached Elias first. She placed her glowing hands on his wound. "Sarai, don't!" Elias gasped, but it was too late. Her power surged through him like warm light. The wound closed quickly. The bleeding stopped. Her hands trembled violently as she healed him, and pain, immense, crushing pain, rushed into her own body. She cried out, her voice filled with agony. Elias watched in horror. "Sarai, stop, you'll die." She shook her head weakly. "I will not let you leave me. Not like this." The soldier reached for her again, but something changed in that moment. Sarai's glowing marks flared brighter than ever before, spreading across her body like living light. The pain flowing into her did not break her. It awakened something new inside her. The energy around her burst outward in a blinding pulse. The Dominion soldier flew back, crashing into the far wall, his armor sparking and failing. Sarai collapsed beside Elias, breathing hard, but her glow was brighter than he had ever seen it. "Sarai, what happened?" Elias whispered, touching her hand. She looked at him, her eyes full of tears but also light. "When I healed you, something inside me opened," she whispered. "The part of me that was broken. It is changing." Elias stared at her in amazement. "You healed me and started healing yourself." Sarai nodded weakly. "Your kindness repaired something my people could not." Behind them, the prison trembled again. The core was close to exploding. The Dominion soldiers were regrouping, but for the first time, Sarai did not look afraid. She slowly stood, her glow growing stronger. "Elias," she said softly, "it is time to end this." The air inside the collapsing prison was thick with smoke, dust, and a strange silver light leaking from the unstable core. Every wall groaned like it was about to fall. Dr. Elias Ward held onto Sarai's arm as she stood. Her body glowed brighter than before, like a rising moon inside the darkness. For the first time since he met her, she did not look weak or afraid. She looked awake, alive, powerful yet peaceful. "Sarai," Elias whispered, "you can barely." Stand, Sarai shook her head softly. I can stand because of you, she said. Her voice warm like a gentle wind. You gave me strength when I had none. A massive boom echoed above them. Dust rained from the ceiling, the core behind them shrieked with unstable energy. Its glowing sphere cracked open like an egg holding fire inside. We don't have long, Elias said, coughing from the smoke. We have to get out of here. Sarai placed her hand on his chest. If we run, the Dominion will come again. They will hunt me forever. Elias swallowed hard. Then what do we do? Sarai looked toward the flickering core, silver tears glimmering in her eyes. I must break the chain between me and their army, she whispered. I must destroy the link that uses my pain. Elias shook his head. Sarai, if you go near that thing, she touched his face gently. Elias, all my life I believed I was broken, but healing you showed me something. My power is not meant to be used by others. It belongs to me. Before he could stop her, Sarai stepped forward, her glow filling the entire chamber with silver light. The Dominion soldiers who had survived the tunnel collapse appeared at the far end of the room. Stumbling toward them, the leader shouted, Sarai, do not touch the core. It will kill you. Sarai turned toward him, her voice steady. You do not know me anymore. The leader raised a glowing weapon. We only seek survival, not survival, Sarai said. Control, her voice echoed. Like the soft ringing of a bell, calm yet unbreakable, the soldiers rushed forward. But Elias stepped in front of them, holding a metal bar like a shield. Stay back, he shouted, even though he knew he was no match for them. Sarai lifted one hand, and a wave of gentle light pushed the soldiers away, not harming them, but stopping them in place. It was not an attack, it was protection. She turned back toward the core, which now vibrated violently, cracks spreading like webbing across its surface. The pain of thousands of soldiers swirled inside it like a trapped storm. Sarai stepped closer. Her glow mixed with the core's unstable light, creating a storm of silver and white. Elias called out, Sarai, don't do this alone. She looked back at him with a soft smile. You are with me, Elias, even when you are far. Then she placed her trembling hands onto the core. A blinding flash exploded across the chamber. The core screamed like a dying star. Pain surged through Sarai's body, pain that once belonged to an entire army. But instead of breaking her, it changed her. Her silver marks glowed brighter, shifting and forming new patterns across her skin. The chains inside her power, the broken paths and damaged threads, began to repair themselves. Elias shielded his eyes, calling her name, Sarai. But even through the light, he saw her standing strong. The Dominion leader fell to his knees, shocked. Impossible. She is healing herself with the core's pain. The core cracked open completely, and then it shattered, releasing a final burst of light that filled the entire room. When the light faded, Sarai collapsed gently to the floor. Elias ran to her, wrapping his arms around her as dust floated down like snow. Her silver glow was soft now, peaceful, her breathing slow but steady. Her eyes fluttered open. Elias, she whispered, I did it. He smiled through tears he didn't realize he was shedding. Yes, you did. Behind them, the Dominion soldiers staggered to their feet, their masks dim, their weapons dead. Without the core, their endless wound army was gone. They were only soldiers again, tired, lost, confused. The leader stepped forward slowly, not in anger but surrender. Sarai, what will you do now? Sarai sat up with Elias's help, her eyes soft but strong. I will live, she said simply. Not as your weapon, not as your curse, as myself. The leader lowered his head, accepting her choice. Then we will leave in peace, he said. We have no right to take you now. They retreated, disappearing into the tunnels as quietly as they had arrived. The prison alarms slowly went silent. The fires dimmed. The shaking stopped. Elias looked at Sarai, still holding her hand. What happens next? Sarai smiled, truly smiled, for the first time. "Whatever we choose," she said. "You showed me kindness when no one else did. You healed what was broken inside me." Elias helped her stand. "Then let's start with freedom, together." They walked toward the exit as dawn's first light shone through a broken skylight. The galaxy would one day tell the story of the alien healer who could not heal herself, until a human doctor taught her she was never broken in the first place, and Sarai, the healed lifewalker, stepped into her new future with hope instead of fear.